All right, and we're back. So this is going to be the second part of our eclairs today. Now, this is going to be a recipe for pastry cream. This is going to be our filling for our eclairs, okay? And I pulled this pastry cream recipe off of Eclairs pastry cream. This recipe is by Lou Jones. It was done in December 2008, the American Culinary Institute of America. Okay. I believe I've used this recipe before, but if not, it's going to be awesome. Okay. So here it is. The ingredients: we have 2 1/4 cups of whole milk, 6 large egg yolks, 2/3 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of cornstarch, and 1 vanilla bean split lengthwise. Now, unfortunately, I don't have vanilla beans on hand at home, so I'm going to substitute that out for a tablespoon of pure vanilla extract, okay? So here is my mise en place all measured out. Mise en place is everything we need for the recipe. Here's our milk, here's our sugar, our cornstarch, the pure vanilla extract, and 6 egg yolks. One of those fell apart when I cracked them into the bowl. So that is 6 egg yolks, okay? We're also going to need another saucepan for the milk, all right? And I want to show you all what's going to happen in just a second. So we're going to take our milk, we're going to put it into the saucepan. We're then going to take that saucepan and bring it over to the stove, and we're going to heat up that milk. We're going to heat up the milk, and I want to show you this really cool technique here. All right, so we want to heat up the milk, put it on about medium-low heat while we're doing a couple things at once, okay? Now, while that's going on, I went ahead and I created a double broiler here. This is just a large stock pot, okay? With water inside, mixing bowl, and about 1.5 cups to 2 cups of chocolate chips. And I'm going to put that on medium heat while we're doing that. This is going to be what we dip the top of our eclairs in. This is just milk chocolate, okay? It's perfectly fine to go ahead and melt this down together. And actually, I'm going to take just a little bit out so I can show you how to lightly temper the chocolate, okay? So I took about a little less than half of the chocolate out of the bowl so we can temper it. And that's going to allow the chocolate to get a really nice finish by tempering it. But again, if you don't want to do that step, you can just melt down some milk chocolate and you'll see how it's going to turn out, okay? So now we're going to add our cornstarch to the eggs. And we're going to whisk those together. You want to scrape down the sides as well. But you'll see that it's not going to be that big of a deal once we add the milk in here, but you'll see. Now I got all this mixed up really nicely. It's good, okay? I want to go ahead, I forgot to tell you guys in that last bit, you want to add that vanilla extract to the milk as well. Okay, now I'm going to add the sugar here, just a little bit, just about half of the sugar to the eggs and the other half with the milk. And we're going to whisk in that sugar as well, okay? Now everything is nice and combined, okay? So while our milk is heating up, I want to talk about this double broiler here. So you never really want to melt chocolate over direct heat. Burnt chocolate just tastes horrible. So that's why we're using this double broiler like this. And that way you don't have to worry about the the flame touching the bottom of the bowl here, okay? And you can turn your flame up a little bit. And once again, you can do these same techniques on a gas stove or an electric. I just have gas, and actually I prefer gas. So back to our vanilla and sugar mixture here. You want to heat this up until the sugar is dissolved and the milk starts to break a little bit of steam. We don't want to bring it to a boil, but we want to make sure the sugar in here is dissolved. And just when that milk starts to steam a little bit, we know it's done. And then we're going to do this technique called tempering, okay? Where we want to slowly bring up the temperature of the eggs and cornstarch mixture with the heated cream. So our milk has started to steam a little bit, as you can see, maybe not, but it started to steam. So now we're going to temper this mixture together. So this is meant by tempering. So basically we're going to add just a wee bit of milk. We're going to stir it in, wee bit of milk, stir it in, wee bit of milk, stir it in, and then we're going to add the entire mixture back to the saucepan. Now, as I said before, it's not on the sides. It's not going to be that big of a deal because you'll be able to scrape down the sides as you're adding in your milk. And again, you want to do that a little bit at a time. And we're tempering this in because we don't want to we don't want to end up with scrambled sweetened eggs, okay? So that's why you need to temper this in very lightly and gently. So, we don't end up with sweetened scrambled eggs. So once I got it pretty much tempered in, I can go ahead and add the rest of our milk in, like such, or cream. And that's when I'm going to go ahead and get the sides scraped down and incorporate the rest of those ingredients, okay? So again, tempering is bringing up the temperature of one thing together very, very gently, okay? So everything is tempered. Okay, now that it's tempered, I'm going to take this cream and add it back to my saucepan. And I'm going to continue cooking this on the stove until it thickens up into a cream. So everything's back in my saucepan or my pot. I have a silicone type spoon here. I want to place this back onto the stove. You want this at about medium-high heat, or pretty much medium, and you want this about medium heat. You want to continuously stir it, okay? You are going to tell when it thickens up, all right? We do not want scrambled eggs. Continuously stirring. You can see our chocolate is starting to melt down nice and slow as well, which is fine. And that's why we have it on this double broiler, and you can see how it's melting really nice and slow. And again, here we're stirring our pastry cream very gently, okay? Now, there are a lot of other recipes out there for pastry cream. I just chose one that I was most comfortable with. This is kind of like a base for pudding as well. So if your mom or grandma has a pudding recipe that calls for flour, you can use that too. There are some other pastry cream recipes out there that call for flour, but I just prefer using cornstarch because that's how I was taught in school. And that's just all what I've used, okay? But again, no recipe is better than another. Definitely not going to say that your family recipes don't work, because they do. And those are fine too. So it's really important to stir your pastry cream, because as you can see out on the bottom, get that spoon up, it's already starting to thicken. So you really want to continuously stir, okay? And you want it, I'm sorry, I probably said medium-high heat. You want to keep it at medium-low, and you want to just continuously stir, okay? And it's going to thicken up. It definitely will. We want to see how our chocolate is just now starting to melt. And it's melting really nicely. Okay, that's what we're looking for. And then once this is completely melted down, I'm going to seed in that other chocolate so we have a really nice melted chocolate. Stop it. Okay. Now, back to stirring our pastry cream too. Continuously stir very gently. Once it's thickened, you'll know. Trust me, you will know. Now, what's happening with here is the starch is going to be the thickener in this recipe, and you really want to cook that starch out or it's going to have a really funky mouthfeel. So that's what the heat is doing to the starch, and it's thickening up this mixture here. And by funky, I don't mean like funky and as in smelly. I'm just talking about as in weird. So when you're using cornstarch as a thickener and other things, you really want to cook out that cornstarch, that raw taste of cornstarch, okay? Now, while you're stirring, don't just stir at the top like this. Make sure that spoon, don't just stir like this. Make sure that spoon is on the bottom of the pan, okay? Now you can see that cream is really starting to thicken up there, okay? It really is starting to come together. That's why we want to continuously stir, okay? That's why we want to continuously stir. You see it starting to come together. It's really starting to get thick now, okay? Keep stirring. Continuously stir. My stove setting is at about, my gas stove setting is at about a 5, okay? So it's at medium. And you can really see how it's starting to come together here, okay? Definitely. We are almost there, okay? That is just about the consistency we're looking for. Just a couple moments more, okay? Just a couple moments more. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. We're almost there. It's really nice and thicky. It's really nice, and the mixture has started to thicken. We are almost there. We're just about there, you all. Okay. And we are there, you all. We're definitely here, okay? We're there. This is our pastry cream right here. Now, this is our pastry cream thickness right here. Look at that. It looks like pudding, okay? We are there. At this point, go ahead and turn off your heat and continue to stir. And what you want to do is put this in a bowl, cover with a little bit of saran wrap so it doesn't get that icky film, and let it cool down, okay? You can put it, if you have space in your refrigerator, you can do it that way. Or you can get 2 bowls. You're going to put this cream in one bowl, and the second bowl, you'll put some ice and water in there, let it sit. Make sure you cover the top of that with saran wrap so it doesn't get that icky film, okay? To get the lumps out, you want to pass this through a strainer if you have one. If you don't, you can follow along what I'm getting ready to do. And what I like to do is I like to put my pastry cream through a